Welcome to Q&A Tuesdays, where we answer your questions about business, marketing, and writing. My name is Jonah Chipeco, and later in a bit, we'll discuss a question from one of my subscribers, Colleen. Colleen asked, how can I overcome procrastination in writing? Before I answer that, I want you to think about the last time you procrastinated. Was there a goal that you kept pushing back, and what was that goal? So if you're watching the live session, please comment hashtag Team Live, say hi where you're from so I can greet you. And you can, of course, comment hashtag Team Replay if you're watching the replay. All right. So you'll be talking about procrastination, and I hope the tips that I'll share today will not just be useful in writing, but in your lives as well. So let me define first what procrastination is. According to Cambridge Dictionary, it means delaying something that must be done. Often it's because it's unpleasant or boring. Yan. Before I continue, I just wanna check if my live stream audio is okay. Am I good? Can you hear me clearly? Alright, let me just check my news feed. Alright, can you type clear if you can hear me clearly? Yeah, and you can hear my voice naman. I see some people watching our live stream. Say hi and where you're from.
Yan, you can hear my voice naman.
Oh, yan. Sorry,
I see
nag-echo. That
some
means I'm
people
good.
watching our live
Audrey is
stream.
all good. Okay. Yeah, so we
Oh,
were
yan,
talking
sorry,
about
nag-echo.
our topic today, which is procrastinating, and I just give a definition of what procrastinating is. And earlier I asked you guys, parang when was the last time you procrastinated, or what's that goal that you kept pushing back? Anyway, yung question ni Colleen is very relevant. So whether writing related or not, I'm sure that there was a time you realized that you should have acted sooner on something. Maybe you thought that I should have been more decisive, or I should have not postponed an action. Okay? Now, in this session, I'm gonna share 3 common reasons why people procrastinate, specifically writers or those with writing tasks. At the same time, I'm gonna share ways, practical tips on how you can overcome it. And maybe some things in my list have not been in your mind on why you procrastinate. So I hope that somehow I can give you clarity on that. I see that JP responded clear. Thank you so much for listening and watching, JP. First one, first reason why I think we procrastinate is that we have this imposter syndrome or attitude of being a perfectionist. So, my question to you is, do you feel that you have to be a subject matter expert before you publish your work? Are you procrastinating because you feel that you should perfect your craft? Or maybe you don't feel you're an expert of the topic that you want to write about yet. So you're postponing it until you learn about the subject. Now, one of the things I do as a writerpreneur is write books and ebooks for clients, and aspiring authors hire me to write for them. Sometimes they just give the titles and the outline, and the content is up to me. So let me tell you, as a ghostwriter, I've co-written a book about infidelity, and the author of that is a guy who's not even a relationship expert. He just mentioned that he loves giving advice to his female friends. I have another book I wrote for a client. It's about quick and easy to cook recipes, and she's not a chef. She's a grade school teacher who happens to want to give advice about cooking and her family recipes. And Giving those two as examples, I feel that if the problem from your end or the reason you're holding back or procrastinating is because you feel that you're not the expert yet, maybe to publish a blog, an ebook, or a book. So I want you to shift that mindset. You don't have to be an expert to get started. You can practice while you're learning. So another story I want to share is when I started to blog in 2011. I remember that time that I went out to events and introduced myself as a blogger, even if I have only 500 followers, even if I was new. And that time, I had the confidence to say that I'm a blogger. It's not the fake it till you make it attitude, but I believe in my skills. I believe that I can write, that I can deliver what I promise my clients to do. And it's something that I'm thankful I did because nowadays if you want to be an influencer or you want to invite clients or PR agencies to work with you, you should have a lot of followers, like 10,000 or 100,000 of followers. And back then, if I did not take the courage earlier in those days, back in 2011, I may not have experienced a five-course dinner at a hotel or maybe a free lunch sponsored by a restaurant or free trips or free spa session or maybe being invited to a fashion show. So what I'm saying is my lack of experience at time did not hinder me to go out there to keep writing. And of course, one of the things that prospective clients would look at is your sample work. So even if you don't feel like you're ready yet, as long as you have those sample works to show um like the quality of material that you can put out there. So parang that will give you an extra boost of confidence. So, what do you think about the first one I shared? Yung imposter syndrome or feeling that you're not ready to write or publish your work. Yeah, just share in the comment box if it's something you've experienced and I'm gonna read it in a bit. Yeah. I see that there are people viewing right now. I just can't see my phone to see who's checking out or who's watching, but feel free to say hi in the comment box. All right. Second, that second reason why we procrastinate would be poor management skills or time management. There are different things that we manage aside from time. It could be managing your priorities or your energy. Let me share a quick story. I remember I was a new sales associate with a jewelry manufacturing company. I've been with the company for less than 6 months, and one of my responsibilities was to reply to incoming client emails. So there was one day that I had an important product shipment to prepare, which is one of my roles as well. So I skipped opening our company's inbox in the morning to pack jewelries for shipping to the States. So our courier had to arrive in the afternoon and those must be prepared and no one else will do it but me. So that afternoon I was surprised because the CEO called me and my sales manager to his office. I was nervous because I didn't know what it was about. So it turned out that one of the CEO's friends, who was also our client, emailed that morning. And because no one responded, maybe I wasn't available to take a call. The client ended up calling his friend, who is the CEO, right? Now, let me ask you that event or that situation that happened, do you consider it as procrastination or not? Like when I skip the task to check emails or reply to emails, is that procrastination or not? Can you type yes or no? I just want to get your idea about it. If procrastination is clear to you, kasi sometimes it could be just managing your priorities and you're not postponing something intentionally or deliberately. So be aware, maybe you're labeling an action as a procrastination, but it could be like what I mentioned earlier. Sometimes, often procrastinating is pushing back something because you just want to skip the work, it's unpleasant. But if you're managing your priorities and you're pushing back a goal or a task to make way for something more important, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Sometimes you just feel na, I made a mistake because a consequence happened. But if it's by accident or you're doing something when you know your priority, then you can explain your actions. All right. I understand if you're pushing back a writing project, let's say you have a book idea in mind, you have a blog idea, or your manager gave you a task because you have something more important to manage. That's okay. But if your reason for pushing back your task, which involves time or time management, is either these two. Parang you think you're busy, you have too much to work on something important, or you're confident enough to work faster at a later time. And you've always done this as a habit. You always find yourself saying, I'm too busy, I'll do this later. Or you always underestimate the task and feel that, oh, I'm confident enough that I can finish this in a day. So I'll just watch Netflix today and do my job later. So, my friend, that could be procrastinating in something that um, we need to fix. So, how can we deal with it? How can we manage our time better so that we don't procrastinate? First is there should always be a deadline in your writing task. Otherwise, you won't complete your work. So as writers, having a deadline is like your best friend because it would remind you to get something done. And especially if you're working for a client or if it's part of your job, let's say you're an HR officer, a human resource officer, and you get an assignment to work on a training manual to onboard new hires. Um, and you want to postpone this task because you're not skilled at it, you're not interested in doing it, you're not excited about it. But it ended up that your HR manager or your supervisor went back to you a month later expecting that it's done. So deadlines should be clear and it should motivate you to work on a schedule so that you can finish the job. So that was the first time management solution that I gave, having deadline. Second is a realistic time frame. How much can you write, like in an hour? Or if you are given a 1,000 word project, how many hours will it take you to finish that? And that estimate should be something you're familiar with because we should know ourselves and our capabilities as writers, correct? It's hard to over promise and then under deliver. So even if you know you can finish something in a day, just add 1 or 2 more days to it when you promise to deliver the project to a client. Another thing you can do to manage your time is to break down big projects or big tasks into smaller tasks. So, syempre, um, you'll most likely finish something if you devote, like, let's say, 30 minutes to 1 hour a day finishing it, than just block one whole day, not knowing that, hey, what if I don't finish everything in that day that I allotted? So I think breaking down the task would be a better strategy, right? So, hi Ray, and she also answered earlier that she thinks that yung arrangement of priorities was the problem. Yep, that's what we mentioned. Okay, the next one, which I think is our reason for for procrastinating. Type guilty if you're guilty of this. Because I think that um for me as a creative, it's natural to wait for sparks or that flow of ideas before I can write. Um I think I've mentioned in some webinars that the first ebook I finished, I finished it in one sitting, perhaps a whole day at the coffee shop because I was inspired that time. It was about moving on from my first breakup. So if we keep looking for that moment when we're really inspired and delay our task till that happens, what if you're not you won't get the mood that you want by the time that you feel it. So or the time that you need it. So I hope that parang lacking inspiration wouldn't be an excuse um to you because I feel like whether we are writers or not, we should always seek daily inspiration. It's challenging to be creative or even productive if we're not motivated. So I hope that finding inspiration is something we proactively seek, whether we have a writing project in front of us or none. Because when the time comes, we really need to draw out the motivation to sit down, get your pen, or be in front of your laptop to work. I think si Naj Villaver Agustin greeted. Hi Naj. Thank you. Yeah, we have some blogger friends watching. Evil Lights, tama ba? Uh, with a with a laughing emoji, he said, "This is so me." Yeah, we have other um commenters also saying that they're really guilty. All right. Before I wrap up the tips that I gave, what struggles do you have when it comes to procrastinating, or do you have any questions that you'd like to ask? Maybe I'd give you some ideas, but um we have another episode, I think that's 2 weeks from now, where I'll discuss how you would write in times of emotional crisis or a crisis. Because that's different from lacking inspiration. But that situation is different, no? Um for this time, we're just talking about procrastinating or saying an excuse because we're not inspired, right? So I have written an ebook called Write Frustrated Writer's Guide to Finding Inspiration. And if you want more ideas on how you can get inspiration daily for your writing task, whether you're making a blog, you're writing email copy, you're doing content for websites, or you're preparing a book, I know that inspiration is really important because when we have that grasp of ideas in our head always and our mind and hearts are full, parang we'd always want to do the work and not push it back because we have this excitement to put into words or into paper yung ideas that we've captured, right? So I think that's it for today's tips. Thank you for joining me. By the way, for those who watch Q&A Tuesday for the first time, my name is Jonah Chipeco. I'm a writerpreneur. And perhaps you're watching this from my Facebook page, YouTube, or even my online school Writing Hacks Academy. So as a writerpreneur, I've combined my passion for writing and entrepreneurship or business. So I write for clients. I also teach writing to my students at Writing Hacks Academy, and I also sell and market my own information products in courses. So if you have any questions, I think a shortened link to bit.ly/askjonah is here on the video where this is posted, on the post where this video is posted, and also um, a link to a blog post where you can learn more about today's topic. Right. Thank you for joining me. Bye. See you again.